Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to LEGO The Hobbit. We're back at the loading screen. It's another day for me. I really don't know why they spend the effort here changing the load screens. Why does every single LEGO game feel the need to have 3 different load screens? I mean, literally, you get the game running. You don't have that much stuff you're gonna do here. You're just gonna hit load or new game, or maybe look at the options the very first time you run the game. Maybe you'd quit the windows that way, but I wouldn't. It just seems so ridiculous that they would animate this. And why aren't those the load screens then? They look better than this, slightly. I like the style of these load screens fine, but the start screens are more detailed. It seems ridiculous. So,
Oh, it's you.
Gandalf here is...
Why am I here, Gandalf? This is not a nice place to meet.
Trust me, Radagast. I would not have called you here without good reason.
So, the story's
Enemy has returned.
doing a complete side
Go
quest.
to the tombs in the mountains.
The High Fells.
So, was Sauron's body or something buried in the tombs in the mountains? Maybe? Maybe that's what he's doing. He's going to see if the body is still there. I suppose if there's a necromancer running around, having the ability to bring back one of the scariest persons in Middle-earth would probably be a scary thing. Alright, how do I heal this bird? Again, the camera positions you very poorly there. I had to decide to turn it. This one bird's gonna sit here and lower the entire bridge. Okay, pretty funny gag.
Gandalf and Radagast stood before the sheer face of the high fells of Rhudaur, the burial place of the Witch King of Angmar. Strange occurrences had been reported of late, prompting the wizards to investigate.
So he just said that Sauron isn't buried here, somebody else is that we've never heard of. Well, I've never heard of. It's so strange to not be focusing on Frodo at all. Is he even going to show up in this level? He very well may not. That
We must know.
I guess there is a decent argument to say that there is not a singular main character to this story, but you can't really do that. Not in my mind, at least. In my mind, the main character is Frodo. Everybody else is supporting cast, and the main character needs to be present in almost every scene. And Frodo, I guess, is it Frodo or is it Bilbo? I think it's Bilbo. I've got the names backwards again, don't I? Yep. Bilbo has been present in most of the stories, or helping. But there's no difficulty writing him so that he would be present in this story too. You could simply have had this happened along the way. That's all it really needed to do. Okay, that worked. I'm not sure if that was supposed to work, but it worked. Red vines. Interesting. I haven't seen a LEGO element like that. I don't know what it would take to get it back. Probably pulling on that chain will retract the vines. We can see some collectibles here we're gonna need the elf for, Legolas. So like this spins that, and then this spins that. Ah, so the vines were just there to make it more apparent that you can't go that way. That's interesting. I've never seen that before. Had to blow up those things to pass. That was a little bit confusing, but I figured it out. Want to heal this animal? His reaction is a little slow here for this whole thing, but we don't use it a lot. This character doesn't even feel like he was in the story. I would be highly surprised if the true story wasn't that Gandalf by himself went to search this area, and we're only getting Ragorast or whatever his name is, because there must always be two characters in a LEGO game, which they really need to just get away from. It's so much easier, and it shouldn't be very much work at all, if they just made no co-op puzzles and had one character running around unless somebody else hit start. And then if somebody hit start, somebody just magically appeared. Can't go through that. I'm not short enough. Like you would in most co-op games. I don't think they need to immediately get rid of that option. In fact, they probably never need to get rid of the option. I just don't think they need to force it on people who simply are going to play the game solo player. They always put in an achievement to play as play at co-op level, which I always cheat to get pretty much by just hitting something on the keyboard, making it seem like somebody's playing on my keyboard while I'm playing with the controller, and then ending the level, which often you can just hit save and exit. I don't think I can move that either.
These are dark spells, Gandalf. You're full of hate.
8 minutes we're into our, like, maybe second or third cutscene, and halfway through the level. We've had a really short journey here. Really short. We're close to the end of the game. I'd say maybe 4 levels left, and most of the levels have proven to be below 25 minutes, below 20 a lot of times. We haven't had anything that's gone crazy and been done in like 5 minutes, and I'm sure when we go back and play in free play mode, we'll find all kinds of sections like here. Almost certain in free play mode there'll be some way to open that and get in there, but those elements really need to exist in story mode. I also have some problems just in general. Wow, this looks like we're just in outer space. Like, I have some problems with the way they want us to play LEGO games. Just this you're gonna play every level at least a couple times if you're following a walkthrough, and you're gonna probably play it even more times if you're not following a walkthrough. Jeez. This is a weird designed area. But I have to still say, I don't feel like there's anything in the story that matters. I want him to be talking about the ring. I want him to bring out Sauron. At least have us fight orcs. Let's go ahead and start this on fire. Are we gonna start a giant fire and illuminate this area? It's pretty dark in here, even with the staffs. I don't understand the design of something like this. Pathways that are really tall with an obvious floor that's way lower. I guess that you could be trying to avoid flooding and such. That could be toxic gas or something down there, and thus they would. Seems like I'm afraid of whatever that is. I have no idea what that thing is, but when I get close to it, my light goes out and he gets afraid of it too, so that must be a free play collectible. These spikes jumping out of the ground. Alright, at the very least it's something to fight, something to destroy. So often in these levels it's like nothing. It's just walking. The original walking simulator is what The Hobbit seems to be. And The Lord of the Rings at least had some more action to it. It makes a lot of sense when I played Shadow of Mordor that they only took the very general ideas, the combination of fantasy elements, and pretty much ignored any story and just said, here, run around and kill orcs. I think that makes a lot of sense for a video game. I think that makes a lot of sense just for trying to fix the problems with the Lord of the Rings story. I think in general, it's just all a little boring. Oh, so these were booby traps? No, one's a switch that would drop the other, so. I thought there would be something in there. Nope. But I desperately want more story here. Even if they were just gonna make up story, even if they were gonna just add characters and tell a better tale. I want something in the Lord of the Rings universe that's new and interesting, and it seems like when it's hamstrung to actually tell the Lord of the Rings story or the Hobbit story, all it can tell is that story, which those books were fine when they came out, but honestly I don't think much literature stands up to the test of time because everything is so iterative in the fact that somebody just takes that concept and then turns it up to 11, and then somebody takes that turned up to 11 and turns it up to 12, and by the time a couple of iterations of a thought have gone through, you're having a much more intense, better written sequence. Of course, there are a few examples where the books were just written so iconically that nobody was able to satire or parody or iterate on them any better. Like Romeo and Juliet is still considered the de facto tragic love story, and while every season in the movies we see tragic love stories, nobody dares compare any of those to Romeo and Juliet, do they? The Fault in Our Stars, for example, just to pick a random, I think, tragic love story movie, is not going to be remembered as better than Romeo and Juliet. And then people are weird too, and sometimes they like new just because it's new, and it's not even because it's actually any better. So we have to go in a specific order. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have never figured out why I just say the number them mentally like that. It doesn't make any sense. It's not like I'm saying right, left, up, down or anything. I'm just looking in a specific place, and whichever way my eye is looking, when I say 1, I somehow better remember that. I'm no mentalist, so I'm not sure what the trick there is. It's some mnemonic, I'm sure. But I'm glad that memory puzzle is done. Can we do co-op? No, we cannot do co-op between the two of these characters. Here we're getting some chugginess again. Honestly, I would say you're probably better off going at a 720p resolution, or even the default resolution of whatever the game gives you. I imagine if you just load up a LEGO game on the PC and whatever resolution it gives you, you just leave it there, I imagine the engine would run a little bit better. Truth of the matter is, when you make video games, there are sections that just stutter like we're seeing all over the place. And then they will put very specific, often in trying to fix bugs, they'll put like very specific lines of code in the one place so it doesn't stutter, but only in that one situation, instead of trying to do a much more robust but time inefficient solution where they would have to rewrite major sections of code. That works for time efficiency, however, it doesn't help at all once you start making the game act in a way that's not expected. So for LEGO games, they are planned to be released on Xbox and PlayStation, and probably the 3DS in some inferior fashion. But their main concern is not for it to run at 1080p 60 frames per second on a high-end gaming PC. It's a kid's game. They seriously doubt many parents are going to give their kids a $1,000 plus gaming rig over a $100 3DS or $200 3DS, whatever. I don't even know how much those are. Speaking of 3DS, I saw the new Pokemon Sun and Moon is announced, and I was looking at the graphics for that, and it looks awful. It really does. We need a new 3DS for the kids, I guess. Well, they don't need a new 3DS, they just need to release the new Nintendo games on cell phones, because all kids are going to have cell phones, whether you want them to or not. So magical fire's lit, the doorway opens, now we're in a windy tunnel. But yeah, the number of pixels, the blockiness did not look good. Now, I remember playing the original Game Boy, so that was in black and white and probably had like 400 lines of resolution in it. Oh, I don't know what it really had though. So they have gone quite a far distance, but it's time for an upgrade there. The beauty about cell phones these days is very much that they're getting less and less easy to break and cheaper. The most expensive part of cell phones right now are the plans, and I imagine there's probably a real difficulty with schools still. I remember when I was a kid, I'm kind of on a tangent, I know, but when I was a kid, Game Boys were most certainly not allowed in school, and I imagine cell phones are not allowed in school anyways. They get them stolen, and schools don't want to be responsible for that. Uh-oh. Another falling scene? Nope. I thought for a second we were going to fall for a long time like we did before. Pull up, hit the X button. This is really feeding into just some very basic fears instead of an actual enemy. It's like, you're afraid of the dark, you're afraid of heights. That's the only thing you're really fighting here. Some very basic fears. It makes The Hobbit feel like it is a very wordy version of a preschool book. Like, that has no point. Well, they all have points, but it has no real plot. So what are we gonna see here? Is it an empty tomb of the Witch King?
Who's buried here?
You would have been known as a servant of evil.
So, a servant of evil?
One of 9.
So is that like one of the ring race? Has come back to life? Wow. 23 minutes, we did nothing. Look, we did absolutely nothing here. Wow. There's just no story here. There's no action that they can even inject in here without going way off the rails, which if I was allowed to make a LEGO Hobbit game, I would like immediately want to go way off the rails. This is why we get movies that are supposed to be based on video games and then they have nothing connected to it at all, or based on books or other media in general. It's just like, to make a good video game, we need more action, and there's no action in this. And it's funny because no other LEGO game series has had this problem. I've never played any other LEGO game series besides LEGO The Hobbit and LEGO Lord of the Rings, where you just go through short level after short level and have nobody to fight. It seems so strange. I assume it's because they wanted just the J.R. Tolkien estate. Why do I say his first initials? The Tolkien estate just wanted 100% accuracy to the books, and it just doesn't work. Anywho, that's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All that helps out. If you want to support me, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.